If I think we're going to make a real difference and have some fun doing it, then we'll go for it. And obviously, something like Virgin Galactic fits that criteria perfectly. We're having a lot of fun. It's a hard work. But later this year we should finally have succeeded, and Virgin Galactic, I suspect, will end up being the sort of the umbrella for the rest of Virgin Group. I mean, and it'll be a fantastic sort of halo effect, I think, for the rest of Virgin.
I was determined not to ask you when, because I imagine you're sick of that question. What are the next what are the big hurdles to get over to get up in orbit?
We think all the hurdles have been ticked now. We had another rocket test yesterday, which went really well, so we are really hopeful that we're almost there. But we've got to put all the pieces together. We're not going to go until we're 100% sure it's obviously safe. But I would be very, very disappointed if it doesn't happen this year.
I was actually there when Spaceship One won the X Prize that day out in the Mojave Desert, and I hadn't thought of the excitement of space. Is that something you've carried through all these years, or did you also kind of get re-energized with that idea at a certain point?
No, I'm still fascinated by space. I mean, we are this tiny dot and the space is infinite. It's there to explore. It has so many possibilities, and not just the possibilities of putting people into space, but what we can do with satellites from space, how that can transform things back here on Earth. What we can do one day with intercontinental travel. The sky's not the limit.
And this isn't just about space tourism. You see that as a beginning.
Yes, I mean, I think 80% of people would love to go to space if they could afford it. So the market is enormous for space tourists who want to go and want to experience space travel. That will help us fund things like point-to-point travel. It'll help us fund things like our satellite program. It'll help us fund hotels in space. It'll help us fund deep space exploration one day. It'll help us fund mining of asteroids. I mean, there's a lot to do.
I went out on the zero-G flight, in my case, out of Cape Canaveral a few months ago. It was really, really, really cool. Have you done that?
I have done it. I mean, just to lie on the bottom of the plane and just suddenly find yourself lifting up to the ceiling. There's nothing like it. I think the exciting thing about Virgin Galactic is that instead of it just being a 10-second wonder, you're going to just be floating around for minutes rather than seconds, and then looking out of these magnificent windows, but back on this beautiful Earth.
You set Virgin America up here in San Francisco, and I wonder what your take is on Silicon Valley. They just had this discussion with all these interesting entrepreneurs. Some of them have been at Google and Apple and other places, or the startups as well, all focused really kind of on the movement of electrons on some level to change business. What's your take on Silicon Valley? What do you like about it out here?
Oh, I mean, must be one of maybe the most exciting place and entrepreneurial place in the world, and with extraordinary people, with extraordinary ideas, and the resources to get out and put those ideas into practice. And I think I think a lot of the problems of the world can be solved from Silicon Valley. Whether it's feeding the poor of the world, whether it's pulling people out of poverty. I think the world will be a lot better place in 10 years' time than it is today.
Kiteboarding. From the pictures I saw from the little Mai Tai event, it looks like you've gotten pretty good at it. You like it? Why?
Well, look, I absolutely love kite surfing. It's it's a great way of just getting out there, getting away from the mobile phone, getting away from the iPad, just getting oneself fit and having some fun. The Mai Tai event was great in that there were 3 girls volunteered to jump on my back and see if we could beat a Guinness World Record, and somehow we succeeded. So we all came back with the biggest grins on our faces ever.
I saw those pictures. I want to, music industry, you've been deeply involved with that, and you nonetheless have survived. I don't envy you in the music industry. Apple made a big investment, or it sounds like they're about to make a big investment in Beats in the streaming music industry. When you look at that business now, what do you see the sort of difficulties are?
Well, I mean, I think we were very fortunate to sell out of our record company when we did. I mean, it was right at the peak of the industry, and since then, largely due to Apple, the industry has imploded, and live music still does well. Merchandising of music does well, but artists to make money out of the sales of their music, is pretty abysmal. So, Apple's new move, it may be a small way of giving back what they've taken, and be great if it could succeed, and be great if artists could make a bit of money out of it.
What's next for Virgin America? Assuming you get the love field, is there is there an IPO in the future, or are you looking for more finance? Because it seems like it's been kind of on the edge of that for a while.
I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say, which most likely means that something's up. But there are there've been rumours of an IPO. We'll see what happens there, we'll continue. We're hoping. I mean, I think we might even get the love field decision today, and we're obviously hoping for good news. We're hoping that ultimately the right decision normally gets made. Hopefully, the right decision will be made, and that'll be a great breakthrough for Virgin America, because it is really difficult to get gates in major cities.